Welcome back to the SSAS training sessions. In last session, we discussed about a couple of functions, important functions, and how to write MDX queries using those functions. Now, in this session, as I told you, MDX is nothing but the basic select statement and a couple of functions, which can be used to meet your requirements. So that is why we are continuously discussing about MDX function. A lot of functions from last 2 to 3 sessions. Now in this session we'll continue to discuss about few functionality as well as few functions. Let's see one by one. First, let me write a basic select statement because I would like to have a good start of the session every time. So I'll write the simplest MDX possible on 0, and I'd like to show color on 1 from cubeName. So if I execute it, it will give me the color wise sales amount. Now let me show you one simple or two important things. One is case statement and one is if statement. So both are very important in MDX, particularly when you're writing calculations. So let's use if statement first, followed by the case statement. So with member, I'm writing a calculated member as sales greater than 6,000. I'm naming it as sales greater than 6,000, as is wrong here. As I'm writing the expression here, my requirement is if the sales is greater than 6,000, then only show the value, else show null value. So this is a strange requirement. No one will ask for this kind of requirement, but I'm just trying to demonstrate if statement here. So we can use if statement for this one. If, let's say you can see the functions, what your parameters that if function takes. You can see logical expression like which will evaluate to either true or false. If it is true, the first value will be, the second one will be executed. If it is false, the third one will be taken and executed. Now let me write the expression. My expression says that it should be something like this. If the sales amount is greater than $6,000, then only show value, else null, right? So from where I'm getting the sales amount, measures dot, I told you the calculate measure executes row by row. So when this is executing for the first row, it will take the sales amount of the first row. Second row, it will take the sales amount of the second row. So measures dot sales amount, let's say greater than $6,000. Then I want to show the value. What is the value? The value is nothing but the sales amount. Else show null value. So I created a calculated member, very simple one. It will show the value only when the sales amount is greater than $6,000. And if I include this one in my select statement, and if I execute it, you can see only one value. This is the actual sales amount and this is the sales greater than 6,000, and you can see this is showing as null because the value, the sales amount of the white color products is less than $6,000. So this is how, if you take the requirement and if you break the requirement into small pieces, it will be very easy to write MDX queries. And you need to understand how the calculated member evaluates, whether it's a row by row or column by column, how it will be evaluated, and based on that you need to write your MDX queries. Now this is the case with what is that? Using the if condition. Let me write one more calculated member black color products. As my requirement here is show only when the color is black. Show the sales amount only when the color is black, else don't show it. Black color, I'll name it as sales only. The expression is something like, okay, if it is black color, then do something, else don't do something. How can I get the black color? I can use this dot current dot name will give me the color information, right? what is the, for first row it will give the value as black, for the second row it will be blue, and so on. If you want to test that, I can show you that also by adding this one into my columns. So if I just execute it, it will give me the color names. Oops, current member, the spelling is mistake. And you can see it is giving me black, blue, gray, and so on. So my requirement is show me the sales only when it is black color. So I can write a if condition, but here let me show the case statement. Case when name is equal to black, then what you want to do? You want to show the sales amount. Measures dot sales amount. Else show me blank. End of the case statement. So now I have written a case statement where when the sales amount or when the color is black, then show the sales amount, else show the null value. If I execute it, you can see it is showing the sales amount only when the color is black. If you want to write more case statements like this is one case statement, case when, and you can have one more one. Here it is blue. Okay, case when it is blue, then show sales amount minus 10,000 or whatever you want. Finally, it should be having an end statement, case end. Case syntax is like case when the condition, then what you want to evaluate, execute. When the condition again, then execution path. Else is to default. If there is no criteria met, then it will go to the else, and at the end you have to end the case statement. If I execute it, it will take the blue color also, but it will subtract it by some value that I have given. I think I have given 1 lakh. So this is how you can make use of case statements and if statements. If you remember, we used the case statement when we worked on KPIs. So this is how the case statement works. So these are very important. If statement and case statement very frequently used in MDX. Now let's go to the where condition. We were discussing about the rows and columns so far. How you want to filter a particular color product. Let me write a where class, and I don't want, or I want to show only black and blue. I don't want to show the remaining. So what you have to do here, you just simply have to pull the black color product, right? If you execute the black, if you drag black color into the where condition, I'm telling the server to return only black, but if I execute this query, it is returning an error. What does it mean? We discussed about this error when we were discussing about the most common errors that a beginner will come across. So this error means the color hierarchy is already appeared on the different axis, that is axis 1. So even the where condition will be treated as an axis. So if you use the product in your rows or in your columns, then you cannot use a member or the same hierarchy in the where condition. Then how can you filter it? If you want to filter the hierarchy that is available, filter the member that is available or the hierarchy that is available in rows or columns, then why you have to use where condition? You just simply provide it here where you have that hierarchy, right? If I give that hierarchy, then what it will do? It will filter that information. So it will filter only black color information and it returns the data. So remember, it's always if you have the hierarchy used in rows or columns, then you cannot use the same hierarchy member in the where condition to filter out the data. So instead what we can do is you can filter out the data of a particular date or particular year. Let me take a particular year for now. I want to see the data of only year 2011. If I execute it, it returns the data of 2011 year. And there is no sales for blue color in the 2011. And as per my calculation case statement, for blue, I asked to subtract it by 1 lakh, and that is why it is returning 1 lakh minus negative value. So this is how you can use the where condition. What the case if you want to have more than one member in your where condition? You can have it If it is the same hierarchy, it will form a set. So I want 2011 and 2012 information, so use a set. You'll be using set and tuple, that's it, nothing else. And here this is included, yellow color is included in the year 2012, and the sales might be increased a little bit. And if you want 2013 information too, you can use this. So it gives 2011, 12 and 13 information in your, I just use the set of members. So when I use the set of members, I have to create a set of it. Now, what if I want to filter only a particular month? Let's say or particular quarter. If I go to the quarters, there are so many quarters, and I can drag and drop a quarter from here. Let's say quarter 3. Now this is a different hierarchy. All these three so far are from the same hierarchy, but this is a different hierarchy. So this will form a tuple. So whatever you drag and drop, the options are very limited. Like you can drag and drop the same hierarchy member or different hierarchy member. If it is same hierarchy, create a set. If it is different hierarchy, create a tuple, and the rest will be taken care by analysis server. So it will execute, it will return the data of only quarter 3 of these 3 years. And if you want to drag and drop one more quarter, so what will happen? So these two are having the same hierarchy, and these two will form a set. So set of these two members and set of those 3 members, and overall it's a tuple, and it returns the data for quarter 3 and quarter 4 of year 2001, 2011, 2012 and 2013. So this is how you can use set and tuple in your where condition, but make sure that the same hierarchy which is already used in access 0 and or access 1 cannot be used in your where condition. Now if you see here, we have data for 2011, 12, 13 only, and 14. You are seeing the data, you are requesting the data for 2011, 12 and 13 except 14. So instead of having, let's say you have 100 members and you want to see the data of 99 members except 1, or 98 members except 2. So in that case, instead of making a big set like this, you can use except function. So there is a function called except. So what that function will do, that function will take 2 parameters. So this is the place where I'm going to give the except function. Except, this takes 2 parameters, and this is the first part of your where condition followed by these two. So this will again form a tuple. So now here except, what except? First let me take the year. So show everything from the year, except the second parameter should be the values that you don't want to show. For example, I don't want to display 2014 information. Then you can see except 2014 information, it gives the data of all the years for the quarter 3 and quarter 4. And if you don't want to show the data for 2 years, then the second parameter will become a set. Second parameter of except function will become a set, and let's say I don't want to display the data for 2032. And this is a set again inside the except function, and if I execute it, it returns the data for only 2011 and 2012 because it doesn't have data for the year before 2011. So this is how you can use the except function, or instead of using except function here, it's good to display the same in the rows. You can see it very clearly. Now here in the products, except, show me all the colors, except, let's say, let me go with black color for now. So colors, let me drag and drop black. So what it will do is it will display all the color information except the black color information. This is wrong here. Now you can see it's returning the data for all the colors except this one. And if you don't want to show more than one color, then make the second parameter as a set of members. What are all those members that you're not interested in? I'm not interested in gray, and I'm not interested in silver or black, and make it as a set. And you can see the remaining color information except the values that you provided as the except the set that you have provided as the second parameter of your except function. So this is how the where condition and except condition can be used to filter the data. Now let's say if you want to filter based on some measure value, let's say give me values were greater than 100 or greater than 1000. I mean to say based on some measure, what you can do is you can use filter function. Let's see how the filter function works. So filter, let's see filter. For now, let's keep this except, or you can keep this except on top of this, you can use filter. So this is fine. And I would like to apply filter also. The filter should be something like this, where the sales amount greater than some value, then only return the data. So filter of, you can have anything in the first parameter, like anything which returns a set of members. So this guy, this except will return a set of members, right? So what the output of this except function? The output of this except function is set of colors here: blue, multi, NA, red, silver, and so on. If we, as long as it returns a set of members, it is good to we are good to use that as the first parameter. So filter this, comma, what is your condition you want? What is the condition that you want to give? Let's say the sales amount greater than, I'll give it 60,000. Okay. So if I execute it, you can see two colors are missing because those sales amount is less than 60,000. So I used except and filter in one query. The except function is returning the value to the filter function set of colors, and the filter is again filtering based on the sales amount where greater than 60,000. And if you give it as less than 60,000, it will return those colors which for which the sales amount is less than 60,000. So this is how you can use except and filter. Now to make it simple and for you guys to easy to understand, I'm gonna take out this information, this except function, and we're gonna use only filter function because I'm gonna write little complex um, filter function, filter part. So if you see here, filter this color where sales amount less than 60,000. So it will return all the colors for which the sales amount is less than 60,000, and you can see here the null is 0, so it is returning in the result set. If I give greater than, it will return all the colors where the sales amount is greater than 60,000. So here sales amount 60, greater than 60 is fine. And what about giving some uncondition? Uncondition like sales amount less than some value. I'll give 2 lakhs. I don't know whether we have any data with this combination. Yeah. Oh, 20 lakhs or 2 lakhs, what I've given. One second, let me take where that I missed that. Okay, this is greater than 60,000 and greater than 2 lakhs I have given. Let me give less than 2 lakhs. I don't think you will get this much data. There is no such products. Let me add 10, which will make 20 lakhs. Now we have two products, blue and not applicable. So this is how you can execute. In the same way, you can use OR condition. OR condition, either it is greater than or less than. I think it should return everything, because any one will be evaluated to true, either this or this. AND operator is different and OR operator is different. If it is AND, then both should be evaluated to true. Now any one, if it is evaluated to true, then we are good and it will return the result. So if the sales amount, either sales amount greater than 60,000 or sales amount less than 2 lakhs, 20 lakhs, in our case, see, it will be evaluated to true, all the records, because if it is less than 20 lakhs, that means even 0 will be true, less than 20 lakhs. And if the value is 50 lakhs, that is greater than 60,000, so it is written in the data. You can use multiple measures like this, or negation. You can use negation in the sense like um, not. So if you use not functions, not keyword here, so actually it is returning the data which is opposite to the condition that I have given. So say sales amount greater than 60,000 will be evaluated to true from for set of records, but I'm asking to negate it. So whenever the condition is false, then only return the data. So it returns the data whenever the condition is false. And if I take out this not, the negation I've taken out, and you can see it's returning the actual sales amount, colors for which the sales amount greater than 60, and not will simply negate it. So this is how you can use filter function and couple of measures in the filter function. And remember, you can use any measure like say tax amount and test that measure which we have here, or total product cost, or unit price discount, PCT, and so on. It doesn't matter whether it's part of your MDX query or not. If you want to filter the colors based on a different measure, then you can use that measure in your the filter function. Not only this, you can use even the attributes also to filter. So when you want to filter attributes, I suggest you to go with the except function. But if you want to go with this filter function using attribute filters, then you can try this. So it will be something like this. So the color dot current member is, normally we use is to compare the members. Let me drag a color, black. So when the current member is black, then only it returns the data. I mean, it is filtering that. So it will go by whenever it goes row by row. For the first color, it will check the current member, and if it is black, it returns the data. For second color, it is blue, it is not matching, so it doesn't return the data. That is why that is how it filters. So you can use attributes also in filtering the stuff. And again, the same way, if you want to negate it, if you negate it, you can see it's getting all the information except black. I normally go with except function if I want to filter based on a particular attribute member. But the case when you want to filter both based on the attribute member and based on the measure, then I go with filter function. Sometimes you need to write like where the current member is black, or current member is blue, or current member is yellow, and sales amount greater than 1000. Let me write a simple one. So here product dot current member is black. I'm copying the same, or blue. What this guy will return? This guy will return 2, black or blue. Similarly, or yellow. Okay. Oops, sorry, I missed or. Now I ask the server to bring the results if the color is black, blue, or yellow, and this is one tuple. I mean one set of filter condition. Now I'm giving after that and measures dot sales amount is greater than, let me give a bigger value than this at least. So here I'm giving two conditions, one based on the attribute member and another one based on the measure. So in these cases I prefer to go with filter function. So this is how you can use filter function to filter the data based on the attribute member as well as on the measure and the combination. You can write as complex filter condition as your requirement says, but you have to be careful. Sometimes it will hit the performance if the filter condition is too complex. So this is how you can write. You can use filter, except, and where condition to slice the data. There is one more function which is very important to improve the performance of the queries. The function is non-empty. If you see, there is no space between non and empty. If there is space, that becomes the keyword, whereas this becomes the function. Now let me write a simple MDX query. Select, I'm taking couple of measures. Sales amount, discount amount. This is the poor example. This is the poor one. I don't want this. Let's say order quantity, and let me go with tax amount, and let me go with the calculated measure that I've created. I think okay, this is fine for now. On 0 or on columns, and I'll go for two attributes here. One is color and another one is English product name. Okay, this will form a tuple on 1 from cube name. So if I execute it, oops, I have something wrong here. This should be commented out. And if I execute it, it returns the data. And if you see wherever there is order quantity, I'm getting sales amount and I'm getting tax amount. Let me include one more measure which has something at least in difference. For example, if I take discount amount, I think this will be null for most of the value, most of the columns for where we have the values for the sales amount, order quantity, and so on. So it's almost 0 in every place. Is there any measure where I have nulls everywhere? Let me try freight. Okay, this is also the same. Let me try one more. Extended amount. Okay, this is also having the values for the same combinations. Let me try revision number. Or better, let me write a calculated measure with member test 1 as if revision number is greater than 500, comma, show revision number, else show null. So if you see here, I'm including this test 1 also, and I'm excluding this revision number, extended amount, and discount amount to make my simple query. And if I execute it, you can see this is null for most of the cases where you have the value. Now, if I execute non-empty keyword, I'm executing non-empty keyword on the rows. And if I execute it, what it will do is it will check for the complete row. And if it is null, for the complete row, it won't return the data, right? So this is the non-empty keyword. This is what non-empty keyword will do. It will check for each and every column, measure column, and it will see whether it is a null or not. It is like test 1 is null and freight is null and sales amount is null and order quantity is null and tax amount is null. Then only it will filter the data. I mean, it will filter that particular row. If test 1 is null and freight is not null, then it won't filter it, because the complete row has to be null for this. Similarly, whatever the row it takes, if you use non-empty keyword, then it will check for the complete row, and if the complete row is null, then only it's gonna filter out the data, filter out that or take out that particular record. Now, on the other hand, the non-empty keyword, non-empty function. So if you remove the space, then it's more like a non-empty function. How the non-empty function works? The non-empty function will take a tuple or set for the first parameter, and the second parameter it will take the set of measures. Okay, for example, if you see here set 1 and set 2, The first one is a set one, and second one I'm not giving anything. So if I execute it, I'll see the same data. Why? Because if for the non-empty function, you have to pass the second parameter, like after comma. If you don't pass it, then what it will do is it will take all the measures. Whatever the measures that you have defined on the columns, it will take everything and it will check the same AND operator. Test one is null, and Fred, if you don't pass any parameter, any values to the second parameter, then it is as good as non-empty keyword. But when you pass something to the second parameter, let's say I'm asking the server to filter out only test one. If the test one is null, it doesn't care whether the sales amount is there, freight amount is there, order quantity is there, and tax amount is there, but it will take out that. Okay. So it will make sure if you pass the second parameter, if let's say you have 10 measures in your select statement, but you are interested in particular measure, if that one has value, then only you want to show the data, then this is the beautiful option. It will eliminate all the records that you don't want to show, and it will improve the performance because it returns the less number of records. Now you can pass the set off again here, comma, let's say freight. Then what it will do is it will check these two. Okay, the test one measure and the fleet, and if these two are null, then only it will eliminate. Here the fleet is not null, that is why it is returning, though test one is null. So if you don't specify any value to the second parameter, then it will take all the measures that you have given in the columns. If you specify anything, then it will filter it will eliminate all the non-empty records. If any non-empty record is there for the measure that you have specified in the second parameter, then it will filter out. If you see here, now the number of records are just 28, but if you pass the other one to freight, the number of records will be more, because 131, because the freight is having value, though the test one is not having value. So this is how the non-empty, I prefer to use non-empty a lot, because the requirement says that if you cross join, only if this particular measure is having value, then only you have to use that. So in that case, why I have to carry everything, why I have to return everything, and then filtering on the report side? What I'll do is I use non-empty to filter out before cross join, or after cross join. So this is how you can use non-empty function and non-empty keyword. Remember, non-empty keyword will filter if the complete row is null, whereas non-empty function, if you pass any measure to the second parameter of the non-empty function, it will check for only that particular measure, and if that measure is null, it doesn't care about the complete row. If that measure is null, then it will take out that row and it will display the result cell. So this is how you can use non-empty function, which is very important. Remember that. So this is about some functions, and we'll be discussing about date functions in the next session. Before discussing the date functions, I would like to explain about the subqueries or subcubes. So people use this term very frequently, like subqueries or subcubes. So what is the subqueries and subcubes? If you know SQL Server, you can write something like this: select star from employee table where ID in, you'll write another query, select employee ID from fact table, some table, let's say. So this is your inner query and that is your outer query. The inner query will be evaluated first and will get all the employee IDs, and it will pass to the outside query, and the outside query will check whether this ID is present in the employee IDs that is written, and if it is available, then it returns the data. So this is how the subqueries in SQL work. Similarly, we can use subqueries in analysis services. For example, all my reports should work only for the color blank. So then I can have one subquery saying that select I even don't want this. I can simply have a subquery or subcube saying that only black color products. It's kind of a filter. Black on 0 from cube name. So what it will do is it will have always the black. Okay, it will take the black information. Now this will be part of my subquery. This is my subquery. That's it. Bracket open and bracket close will make the subquery. Now here I'll be writing my conditions. Select let's say sales amount on 0, comma, and let's say color attribute on 1 from, instead of cube name I'll be using the subquery. Sorry. Now if I execute it, though I specified color attribute on the rows, first it will execute, the inner query will be executed and it will return only black color to that. So that's kind of sub cube, right? So it will return only black and you are allowed to use only black here. Okay. So the outer, even though you specified product.color.color, it's a attribute hierarchy level, still it returns only black because the inner query is filtering. So this is how you can use subqueries, where instead of a cube name you can have the subquery, and you can again filter it. You can have one more subquery here. Select, give me only a particular product. Better if I can pick one black color product. Is there anything called black, which comes in black? There are some product names with the name, with the color name black. I hope I will see at least one now. Okay, I'm not getting one, so let me drag and drop something on 0 from cube name. The innermost query will have the cube name. The outer queries will be using the output of the innermost queries. Now if I execute it, first what will happen is it will filter only for locknut 7. Then it will pass the same to the outside query. The outside query will check whether this comes in the black or not. It won't come in the black, so the null will be passed to the outside query, and the outermost query will execute and return null, no sales amount. And the performance is not a big hit, and people uses this very frequently because the inner query will filter and give a subquery to the outer query, and the performance, I don't see much performance degradation if you use subqueries. So this is one important concept which we can use when we are writing MDX queries. But again, remember, it's always the same functions again and again you'll be using, whether it's an inner query, subquery, or the outside query. And one more important thing is, sometimes for some parameters in reports, or in some cases, you need to return only the colors or return only the products without any sales information or without any measure information. How can you do that? So for example, let's say I just want color information. I don't want any sales and so on 0 from AdventureWorks DW. So if I execute it, what it will return? It will give me only the colors on the columns, but it will give me the default measure value, right? So if you want to return, sometimes this is one of the requirement I worked on, where I have to execute a query to return the data for my parameter in the report. The values like black, blue, gray, and so on should be dynamically assigned to the parameter of my report. So in that case, what you can do here is, it's good to go with this color on the rows on 1, and on the columns give an empty set. So if you give an empty set, what it will do is it will give you the color information, and the rows will, the measure values will be null. You are asking the server, don't return anything. So this is sometimes you may need to execute query like this, and you will be using this color information to assign to your parameters or whatever the requirement is. So this is how you can get only the members of a particular attribute. Okay, let's see one function before we sign off for today. Select measures dot members on 0. We can use members function not only for attributes but also for the measures. Let's say color on rows from cube name. So if I execute it, what it will do is it will return um, all the members, all the measures on the columns, and it will return color on the rows. Now let's use its little different function. Instead of using members, let's try all members. So if you use all members, it returns the similar result, but let me execute here. Let me show you this. 11 rows and 19 columns, and here 11 rows and 16 columns. What is the difference here? So the difference is the calculated columns. When you use all members instead of using measures, this all members is much used when you are using measures, or else it's more like using a member function. But I use only when it is when I have to retrieve all the measures that are available in the cube. Now if you see here, it's promotion key and so on. At the end, it will also add the calculated measures that I have created. If you have anything on the attribute level, or if you have anything on the measure level, if you use all members, this is gonna return the calculated stuff too. So this is the difference between members and all members. Now this is about slicing, basically where class and filters, except functions, and using non-empty function. In tomorrow's session, we'll be discussing about date functions, which are very important. Okay, and tomorrow's session will be the last session on MDX. Thank you very much for joining the session, and have a great day, guys.